surrender should be there. If you surrender, God can interfere into your life. He told us that he heard a voice. This is the last time you're seeing her. If I close my eyes, I can see Swami. She didn't finish that sentence. Interview. We had reached Chikbalapur. They stopped there for a cup of tea, and the particular van in which my parents were traveling, that guy was driving like Ben-Hur, and they were telling him go slow and everything. The boys, two boys were there in the van. They were joking, this rate we will reach Kailasha faster than Vrindavan. They were joking. Then they got into the van and they crossed Chikbalapur. They were going further. I think they were closer to Bhagyapalli. I'm not beyond Bhagyapalli, right? So when they were traveling, my mother closed her eyes and she saw Swami clearly, She was thrilled. She got up to see whether it's a dream or real. Again, she closed her eyes. She could see him that close. Then she told her neighbor, you know something? If I close my eyes, I can see Swami. She didn't finish that sentence. This van was going at a high speed. There's a lorry coming from the opposite side. And this van driver wasn't giving way to the lorry. And the lorries, they don't believe, they are the kings of the road. So he wasn't budging either. The last minute, our van swerved. But in the swerve, the timing was wrong. So the lorry hit the back of the van. So in that speed, the van began to toss 3 times over and landed with its wheels above. My mother said that all the passengers, they were tossed in that. And those Matador vans had these chairs with iron bars. So everybody got hurt in the bargain. She said when she first came to B, she saw the roof of the van was filled with a pool of blood because everybody inside got injured. She said, I crawled out. She crawled out. And then she realized that her head was torn, jagged by the metal chair. Exactly the same places where she saw in the dream of Swami's patches on his head. And the miraculous thing was she had absolutely no pain. So she was completely aware. She crawled out, sat down, began to push the blood off her face because she had streaming blood. So she was wiping her face to hold it and see what's happening. She was very much about. Now, a lot of people got injured in that thing. My father hit his eye, he broke his ribs and had an injury on his head. And because his eyes were hit, he couldn't see. So he was asking for where she is. She hit her jaw, so she couldn't speak. So she was telling him, I'm here, but, that way. And 2 boys who didn't get much injury, they immediately started trying to help people to come out. And one of them later told me, he brought water to pour on my mother, and he was so taken aback when he saw the amount of blood on her, and she was telling, chant Sairam to him. He really passed out when he saw that. In the meanwhile, the other van which was coming, that lorry driver, after he hit them, he went ahead, because he was going in the opposite direction. He saw the next van. He said, Tumhare logon ko accident ho gaya hai, wahan jao. He informed them. That was the good thing he did. That vehicle came and then they picked people up, and Kuppuswamy sir was in that vehicle. He had dreamt that he'll pick up bodies. He literally did that, and they took them to Chikbalapur. In the meanwhile, Swami was told that this happened, and Swami immediately sent, there's one part of God, Swami, which saves people. There's another part of Swami, which is all simultaneous. He's so human and concerned. And he's extremely practical. He got the doctors, the medical things necessary, the funds necessary, sent them, calls to the hospitals, everything like how it's usually done. So the doctors landed immediately. They began to look at each person, saw whose damage was to what extent, and decided who goes to the bigger hospitals. So my mother was brought, because she was completely, she could tell what happened. She was lucid. So there was no internal brain injury. That was a surface wound. So they brought her to Vrindavan. Around, this happened 5:30 in the morning. By 11, they were there in Vrindavan. And Swami, 20 times he rang up. Have they come? Have they come? Have they come? Finally, as soon as they all landed, he came to the hospital. Mother was so messy with all this blood and thing, caked with all that. And, you know, that's one thing very nice about the Sai family. They're so sensitive to small details. So immediately they were covered up completely except the face, so that the blood is not seen by Bhagwan. He knows, not that he doesn't know, but those are the decorums of doing things. And then Swami said, drink some water. You didn't eat anything. Will you drink little water? And she was like, because the whole mouth is lacerated and there's blood going down. So then he said, coffee. We'll give you coffee. And when she thought of hot coffee going down that throat, she wanted to say no. Behind Swami, one sir was standing, he said, take it. Why? Take it. Because when God pours something in your mouth, it's life. It's not coffee, it's not water. So Swami cooled the coffee and poured it in her mouth, and he told, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. And you won't believe it. We were in college and hostel, we were doing our exams. Swami arranged who will pick up whom, what time will land in Vrindavan. We got phone calls telling not to worry, he's taking care, write the exams properly. Day to day monitoring, after we came to Vrindavan, where we stay, what we eat, when we go for darshan, when we should go to hospital to see our parents, everything was monitored. The love of this God, what to say. Now this whole experience, it passed. And then we asked Swami why she didn't have pain. She had 120 stitches after that on her head. And Swami said, karma has to be gone through. But when devotion is there, then I can nullify the impact of karma. So you go through something without actually going through something. And what you go through becomes a joy just because it is associated with God.